and this is why. So, hit me. When medical students start their course, the lecturer often begins by telling them, in 10 years' time, 50% of what they've learnt on the course will be wrong. I can do better. In 5 minutes' time, everything you have learnt in your life so far will be wrong. Let's start with the dawn of consciousness. We probably sat and watched the setting sun going down night after night and thought, there must be thousands of those things over the horizon. Until one bright spark said, no, perhaps there's only one sun and it's going around the Earth, which is at the centre of everything. Well, it must be, mustn't it? Because the Earth doesn't move, and when you look up at the sky, everything else is moving around us. And by the way, it's a myth that anyone ever thought that the Earth was flat. Nobody was that stupid. But then along came Copernicus, and through careful observation, he discovered actually the Earth was revolving around the sun, which meant that a current theory had to be amended, which is how science is supposed to work. But in his day, there was one slight problem. The spreading of knowledge was very slow. And this was largely due to the fact that most knowledge was contained in manuscripts, and most manuscripts were copied from other manuscripts. So if there was an error in one of the original manuscripts, it merely got duplicated. And the invention of the printing press merely speeded up this process. For example, the iron content of spinach was misreported when the typesetters put the decimal point in the wrong place. By the time the error was discovered, the information had escaped into modern folklore. And history is a lot like spinach, in that people have a false idea about it. If a ruler won a battle because they were less stupid than their opponent, or had dumb luck, they would report it in such a way that made them out to appear wiser and stronger than their opponent. And this idea was so good, it was taken up by all leaders. Propaganda, though, is not interested in expanding knowledge. It's only interested in controlling information and influencing those people who receive the information. So trying to, verify any facts is incredibly difficult. And this always assumes that everyone involved in reporting a story is trying to do it as honestly and as objectively as they can. And as we know, some people don't give a toss about honesty. Take the simple fact of your age. Now, your bodily cells are replaced in their entirety every 7 years. Does that mean you can only be 7 years old? But the molecules that make up the cells are billions of years old. So are you as old as the stars? And the laws of physics break down at the quantum level. Solid matter is more space than solid by a factor of thousands. And merely observing an event on the quantum level affects it. So how can science be objective? And it would appear that our universe is expanding at an accelerating rate. With our current level of knowledge, that means that 90% of the universe is missing. We call it dark matter, but we might as well call it no freaking idea. So I'll bring you back to Copernicus because I don't know if he ever existed. I'm told he did by teachers and by books, but as we have seen, they can often be wrong. And all the information I've given to you in this presentation is derived from these sources. So what can we rely on? Well, surely we can rely on our own senses, our own eyes. Look at the squares marked A and B. A is obviously darker than B, but our brains make stuff up. Our eyesight has a blind spot which we don't see because our brain fills in the missing information. In reality, squares A and B are exactly the same colour. But even when we're presented with the evidence, our brains attempt to adjust for the illusion. So what are we left with? Just ideas and philosophy? Probably. But that assumes that our brains are in charge of our bodies. What if our bodies are in charge and merely uses the brain as an organ to achieve its objectives? I mean, ask any woman why she needs a pair of impractical shoes, and her brain will come up with many reasons, some of which might even make sense. But it's actually her body which has decided and has informed her brain to figure out the best way of getting what the body wants, which means we have no free will. Now, some of you will see this woman rotating in a clockwise direction, and others of you will see her rotating in an anti-clockwise one. Now, is that you deciding, or is it just the materialistic way your neurons are put together, producing a predetermined result? So we can see, the more we discover about the world, the more complex it becomes. And if we extrapolate from this position, we can see that we will realise that we know absolutely nothing about the world. which paradoxically means the more intelligent you are, the more doubtful you are of your reality, and the more certain you are of something, then that your level of ignorance will be higher. So I'll leave you with a quote from Gloria Steinem. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.